You know, in Spanish, there are four tiny words that can cause some pretty big headaches: muy, mucho, tan, and tanto. They seem so simple, right? But mixing them up is one of the most common hurdles for learners. Well, in this explainer, we're going to clear all that up for good. Let's dive in. So here's our game plan. We'll start by talking about why these words are so tricky. Then we'll break down the two key pairs, tan and tanto, and muy and mucho. And to wrap it all up, I'm going to give you a super simple rule so you can make the right choice every single time.
Okay, let's just admit it right from the start. These words can be a real pain. They all kind of feel like they mean a lot or very, but you can't just swap them around. That's a classic rookie mistake that we are going to fix right now.
I'm sure you've been there. You're in the middle of a sentence, you pause for a split second, and you think, wait, is it muy or is it mucho? That little moment of hesitation, that's exactly what we're going to get rid of today.
Okay, this slide right here is maybe the most important takeaway of the whole explainer. You have to stop thinking of these as four random words. They're not. They are two very distinct pairs. You've got tan and tanto, which are all about comparisons, saying something is as something else. Then you've got muy and mucho, which are about intensity, saying very or a lot. Just getting that separation in your head is honestly half the battle.
So let's jump into that first pair. Whenever you want to say that two things are equal in some way, you're going to reach for either tan or tanto.
Now the rule for tan is, well, it's beautifully simple. You use it when you're comparing qualities, things described by adjectives or adverbs. And the best part, tan is invariable. It never ever changes. It's always just tan.
And the formula couldn't be easier to remember. It's just tanto, then you pop in your adjective or adverb, and then you follow it up with como. That's it.
Let's see it in action. Tan pacientemente como. As patiently as. See how tan is just giving a boost to the adverb pacientemente, but it doesn't change its own form? That right there is the key.
All right, now for its partner, tanto. So, if tan is for qualities, tanto is all about quantities. You use it with nouns, things you can actually count or measure. But here's the twist where you gotta pay attention.
Unlike our steady friend tan, tanto is a bit of a chameleon. It's a variable adjective, which is a fancy way of saying it has to change. It has to match the gender and number of the noun it's talking about. So you've got four possible forms: tanto, tanta, tantos, and tantas. So the formula is almost the same, but there's just one extra step. First, you have to pick the right flavor of tanto to match your noun. Then you add the noun, and then you finish it with como.
Here's a perfect example. We're talking about fruta, right? The noun fruta is feminine and singular. So bam, we have to use tanta. Tanta fruta como, as much fruit as. See how it just clicks right into place?
Now there's one little special case to know about. When you're comparing actions, so we're talking about verbs, you use the phrase tanto como right after the verb. And here's the funny thing. In this one situation, tanto decides to be invariable again. For example, you'd say, ella come tanto como él. She eats as much as him.
All right, comparison pair? Check. We've got that down. Now let's switch gears to our second duo, muy and mucho. This is all about expressing intensity, about answering the question, how much?
First up is muy. The translation is dead simple. It means very. It's an adverb you use to crank up the volume on adjectives and other adverbs. And just like done, muy is your reliable friend. It is always invariable. It never ever changes. Oh man, this slide shows one of the most common mistakes out there. Because bonito is an adjective, it's describing a quality, you just can't use mucho. It's gotta be muy. Es muy bonito means it's very beautiful. And here's another crystal clear example. The word rápido is an adverb. It's describing how she runs. So to intensify it, we need muy. Muy rápido. Very fast. Simple. Okay, on to our last word of the day, mucho. Now, this one is definitely the most versatile of the bunch. It can mean a lot, much, or many. And it kind of has a split personality. It modifies both nouns and verbs. So this slide shows you the two faces of mucho. When it's working with a noun, it acts as a variable adjective, so it has to change to match. You'd say muchos amigos. But when it's working with a verb, it acts as an invariable adverb and it never changes. You'd say estudio mucho. So let's tackle a classic head-scratcher. We just said that muy means very. So why in the world do people say hace mucho calor when they mean it's very hot? I mean, that seems to break the rule we just learned, right?
Well, get ready for the aha moment. It's because in Spanish, words like calor, heat, and frío, cold, are actually nouns. They aren't adjectives. And what's our rule for modifying nouns? You gotta use mucho. So you're literally saying, it makes much heat. Once you get that, it's a total game changer.
Okay, we've gone through all the rules. Now, let's talk about the shortcut. Here is a super quick mental check you can do to choose between muy and mucho every single time without fail.
Here it is. This is your quick check. First, just ask yourself, what word am I trying to modify? If the answer is an adjective or an adverb, a quality, use muy. If the answer is a noun or a verb, a quantity or an action, use mucho. That one little question is your secret weapon to getting it right and sounding so much more natural.
So let's wrap all this up. I know we're talking about just a few tiny little words, but believe me, getting them right has a massive impact on your fluency and just how confident you sound when you speak Spanish.
Think of this slide as your final cheat sheet. It puts everything we talked about in one place. Muy is very for qualities. Mucho is a lot for actions and quantities. Tan compares qualities, and tanto compares qualities. Go ahead and save this one for a quick reference later.
At the end of the day, mastering little details like these is what really makes you sound authentic, you know? Not like you're just reciting rules from a textbook. It's the key to taking your Spanish from pretty good to really great. So I'll leave you with this question. What other tiny Spanish words give you big trouble? Let us know, because tackling those is your next big step to fluency.